Let me just check up on Jason.
You're right.
Make sure he's coming along. Maybe probably wait for Jason.
It's okay. It's all good. How are things going for you at Domain? You still working from home?
Yeah, we're all at home. Yeah, I think actually some people went into the office and started to go back to office on Tuesday, but a pretty small amount.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of distanced in the office.
Yeah.
And you can't sit next to each other, and the kitchens are all closed, and all those kinds of things.
Yeah. No free
How's
coffees.
things been for you?
No free Nespresso.
No.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
How you going?
Good.
Have you guys met before?
I think I might have met you when you were on level 1 before you guys moved to level 5 at Piermont.
I think, yeah, like Luke and I kind of know Luke because I did work in my desktop.
Yeah.
So like I know Website Blue.
Yes.
And so on from those days. I don't know an awful lot about it's 10 app, isn't it?
10 app. Yep.
Yeah. And then Jason, I don't know, but maybe you have met Luke. I'm not sure. You might have met him in passing at some point.
Yeah.
He's often around on level 1, aren't you? When I see you when I go out for coffee sometimes.
Guys, sorry, Lyndon Ma can't make it. He's stuck in another meeting, so I apologise about that. But he's given me some questions and everything to go through. So Lyndon's one of our directors, and Jason, I think you know David Choi as well, who's another one of our directors. But they both can't make it, so you're stuck with my pretty face instead. So thanks.
You've been working with all homes, haven't you? That was
yep.
how this kind of came about.
Yeah, so we're working. So with 10 app, we're working with. So we're powering the new domain rental form, which is going live at the moment into beta. Okay. So that's the one form replacement on domain. So we're powering that, and then from an all homes perspective, they're not taking the DRF currently. So what we're doing is deploying our proprietary consumer form onto all homes, so they can kind of kick off REA now, and then once DRF goes live, 6-12 months in all homes, then we'll revert to the same integration we're doing with domain.com.au. Which is good. So the reason I wanted to have a chat is to give you some background. So our first client was Ray White Group. So we're still rolling out nationally there. However, they are very much keen to remove IRE from the group, which is probably something that you're familiar with hearing from many, many people. So we're basically building out a bookings app on their website, and that will basically facilitate OFIs coming in via the API from my desktop, which will display on a widget, giving them times and so forth that they can book in. And then the vision, and I'll run through some questions in a second, but the vision basically then is for us to, when Jane books in for an inspection, we then push that inspection request and booking into HomePass, and then they facilitate the OFI on the doorstep with HomePass. And so I guess my desktop is the scheduling component. We're then kind of the middleware that's saying, yep, let's book, during calendar invitations, etc. And then HomePass fulfills that doorstep OFI. And that gives us basically for Ray White Group a solution that involves zero cost and the removal of IRE. And so they're quite keen to get moving on this.
So is 10 app quite a new thing in the market then? Is that how long?
Oh, no, we're probably about a year and a half old now.
Right,
so,
okay.
So not old by any means, but not new either. So we've got a couple of other groups on board as well, and obviously a bunch of independents. If this, hopefully this model can work, and then we'd push it wider, basically out to more of the base. I think, the main query that we have, I guess, is around HomePass. Predominantly or traditionally has been really a sales offering, not so much in the rental space. So I've just got some questions around that Linda wanted me to go through around, how can that work as far as, owner versus vendor reporting, for example. How does that all kind of tie together? And are you looking at making some more moves into that rental space with HomePass, or are you really still going to be focusing on sales, and then maybe we do the kind of heavy lifting required from a rental perspective? I guess that's where we're at. But I guess, do you have any questions before I launch into mine, or?
I think I would probably be interested in like understanding a little bit more about 10app, but maybe that can happen separately.
No, I can give you a quick run through. So
yeah,
I guess so 10app has two versions that are seen. One is from an applicant's perspective. So for Ray White, for example, they have the 10app, or they call it Complete App, application form on their website, which the applicant can fill in. And then if you mirror that, that's the same for the domain rental form. So the applicants fill in either proprietary form on the website or on domain. They hit apply. At that point, the application comes either from domain or from the website into our system. We then do a whole heap of automation. So we go out and send automated reference checks to previous property manager, current property manager, employer, accountant if they're self-employed, personal references, etc. That all gets sent out at that point in time. And then the system basically automates the review process of the application for the property manager. So the concept is Jane applies for a property at 3 o'clock today. By the time the property manager comes in tomorrow at 9 o'clock, the application has been submitted in full. So that is a really big difference. They can't submit a non-complete application like they can with one form. But also, the property manager can view all of the reference responses, including the rental ledgers, etc., which are quite important during the review process, all in one spot and all there. Everything's completed for them. And then they can go through and do their shortlisting, communicate with the landlords, etc. And we basically carry all the way up to basically what we call the key ceremony in the office. So the applicant's been approved, we've sent out comms, and then the tenant comes in at that point to grab the keys, and that's where we finish. So we're integrated with Property Me, we're integrating with Console, Property Tree, we're integrated with Vault PM, the new property management system from Vault. And the whole thing for us is driving automation and reducing time. So at the moment, we're just shy of 50 minutes time saving per application. That's 50, which is a huge windfall for a property management firm, especially with high rent rolls. Average applications 4.5 per listing. That's a lot of time being saved. But we operate differently, I guess, to all of our other competitors, where we operate under a single view of applicant rather than single view of application. So we're very much the way Domain works, in the sense that you can go in as a PM and see all of the tenants or applicants' history with the agency. If a reference check is done on one application, it carries to all subsequent applications as well. So very much about speeding up the data flow. We want to bring that right forward, obviously, with Ray White to the bookings, start a relationship with the applicant at booking time. So when they're booking a request to view a property at an OFI, we start onboarding them in the application process from that moment, I guess. And there are two things we have to have in mind. One is delivering a great experience for the property manager, but also delivering a great experience for the tenant. And the reason for that is that one thing with us is we're not a consumer brand at all. So when you're applying for a property through us, you don't even see our logo. It just says powered by 10app at the bottom. So what we're trying to do is basically give the applicant, on behalf of Rain and Horn, for example, a great experience from inspection. And that's proving well. So we NPS all of our tenants, all of our applicants, and it's aggressively on the incline. So it seems to be working, and that's really what we want to own. We're not interested in trust accounting. We're not interested in routine inspections or anything like that. We just want to own this application management sector of the marketplace and do it really well, and that's our core focus. Does that explain, I guess?
Yeah, that was a good run through. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm out of breath. Jason, do you have any questions at all, mate?
No, it fully makes sense. So you're supporting, I guess, the online experiences for a renter trying to book an inspection on, let's say, Raywa.com and All Homes is what you're targeting.
Sure.
How are you getting your listing times? Is that coming straight from, or is that something that you guys manage? Or
No. So we're very big on we don't want to replace tech. We think it's stupid. So if you look at Ray White, they have the one system. They're all paying for that. They manage their open home times currently in My Desktop, and that's where we want it to remain as the source of truth. The CRM should always be. So via the API, basically, we get live OFI times from the API. So the difference between this solution and, say, an IRE solution is IRE are working off an XML feed of listings. You've got anywhere up to 2 hours of unsynced time where bookings can come in for a time that's no longer available. So we're doing it live via the API with Vault Property Management, because obviously the transition of offices from My Desktop to Vault, we're doing the same thing. We're getting it from the CRM via an API, so it's live data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And okay, so for the rental form, so once you're directing traffic to book at those inspections, does 10app actually support private inspections as well, or how does that work?
So 10app supports basically whatever My Desktop is sending us at this point. If somebody wants a alternate time or there's a conflict in time, yes, they can then request a time. We have a scheduling component in the back end of 10app so that the property manager can say, I'm available between Monday and Wednesday from 10 till 11 for private viewings, for example. And then, yes, the same thing.
Okay. Cool.
Because you guys now support private viewings in the HomePass API because of COVID. Is that correct? Yep.
That's
okay. No worries. So the way, from an architectural perspective, that we would be notifying HomePass via the API of a booking, we were wondering, because we don't get exposure to the HomePass or domain listing ID. However, we have the My Desktop listing ID. So I'm presuming we can use the My Desktop listing ID to make that booking in HomePass?
The answer is yes.
Yep.
We'd have to. This is an interesting problem. You'd also need to have the office or accounts identifier, if that makes sense as well.
So the agencies?
Yes.
And so yep.
So that's probably that's most critical, if you like.
Yep.
But yeah, the listing ID, that will be the two pieces of information that are required to register that information in HomePass.
Okay, yes.
Well, we probably want to, so the booking space is a very wide and varied problem, right? So I think you already know that.
Yeah.
And different agencies will have different things as to what they want to try and support, what they want to do. You have I would imagine a big part of your target segment market will be those that have a massive, rent roll, a lot of volume going through. That's going to be a really big part of it into the problem domain that you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
We have customers that have that, but also don't have that.
Yes.
Right. With a much smaller user base where they're happy to not even use a system, they just basically talk to each other and get done.
Correct.
So we have to support both use cases, if that makes sense, because of the domain and the listings that we get.
And same for us, by the way. So we support right down to, I guess where we would blur out would be maybe 15, 20 properties on book is kind of where, a SaaS solution, as you said, they wouldn't worry about. And they're probably using PDF application forms at that point. So, yeah, we're probably down that lower end and then all the way up. Yeah.
Yeah. From a business standpoint, there are different ways to solve the problems. But from a technical standpoint, we're open to integrating with different players in this space as well. So we're not we're not trying to be like the be all and end all of how property bookings work.
Yeah.
And also we support bookings from a for sale perspective as well.
Yeah.
So given the wide varied nature of this, it's essentially registering a booking is something that is very flexible for us. But what we'll probably need to figure out, I guess, is what's a use case that makes sense to integrate with your product.
Yeah.
In that sense, because the confirmation process of an appointment and all that stuff seems to be something that you guys do.
Yep. Yep.
So what we want to do is basically onboard that information into HomePass after that confirmation step has actually gone through your side.
Yep.
So that's one part of it, and then the other part of the integration piece is to figure out how to best enable certain accounts to use 10app and pass that information through.
Yeah.
So the integration work will be required on that front.
Yep.
Notwithstanding, we could probably, obviously compile it with somebody or some group or something or other. That's not okay. That's something we can definitely consider. But what we've had to support is a booking experience from zero. In other words, without a booking confirmation mechanism in play.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that we couldn't be open to figuring out how we could plug into that workflow.
Yeah.
Thereafter. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, do you guys can we pre-register people to a booking? Do you look after, say, virtual inspections as well at the moment in HomePass?
Yep. We do all that, and that's we're known for inspections full stop.
Yeah.
So we'd be trying to innovate and doing everything we can in that space.
Yep.
But the actual onboarding information or funneling the information into HomePass is something we've been working hard at. So one part that will be bookings.
Yep.
The other part of it, I guess, if we were to take on a booking system, then we'd be notified of a confirmed registered attendee.
Yep.
That wants to attend a listing. Wants to attend a open home on a given date.
Yes.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's something we could definitely do.
Yeah.
We'd need to consider some downstream impacts of what that means. Potentially there may be a URL that you could send to us that we can actually say, hey, go to this URL if you would like to alter or edit the confirmed booking.
Yep.
So that's one way to provide some level of lightweight integration.
Okay. And do we need the office to authenticate with the API, or can we create bookings for any agency using our 10app API key?
I think this is something we need to think more carefully about, and I'm just talking about it from a integration standpoint, because my experience with agents trying to do authentication, all the rest of it, it's hopeless, right? I'm pretty sure you know the problem very well.
Yes.
But like you can say, you can log into here, you can send all your information. It's like the minute you start with you log into here, they've lost.
Yeah.
So I'm mad in favor of trying to figure out how we can do it from a system to system level.
Yep.
It isn't very clear how to do that properly though,
right.
Because it's a very unique part of the tech world. Just so I've appreciated this more than ever. We've got people who take security, like they regard security as important, but at the same time, they're not willing to go through the hoops to make it secure.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting problem domain because, you can tell the agent, you got to do it this way because it's secure, but then they don't want to do it. They appreciate it's secure. They want it to be secure, but they don't want to do it. So how do you bridge that problem divide? How do you make sure it's secure without having to do all the hoots and jumping and all that kind of stuff? So that's something we want to do. And potentially we'd be looking to see what we could do with you guys if from an integration standpoint.
Yeah.
My preference is a system-to-system auth flow that makes sense. It's pretty darn easy, but maybe there's some authentication or some authorization mechanism that allows us to then easily say, Mr. Agent, do you agree? Yes, no, yes, done. And then basically go from that point forward.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. And so it looks like bookings can be enabled for specific listings inside of HomePass. Do we need to check that the listing is enabled for bookings in HomePass before we create a booking request?
That is definitely something we have to support in the market today because of the fact that there are just so many different listings and different users will want bookings done different ways.
Yes.
So, our preference is never to corner a person and force them to anything. Our preference is to allow the user to do whatever they feel is appropriate for their particular business.
Yeah.
From that perspective, yes, there is an enablement query that you can actually execute to figure out whether or not it's enabled or disabled. That's something we support within the app today, and it's reflected all the way out through the portal.
Okay, great. Okay. And how would we be able to get, the API account linked with our test agency so we can do some tests, and we just want to make sure that we're not, like I said before, we don't want to duplicate tech that's already working extremely well. So how could we kind of get our accounts linked up so we can do some testing and some playing and just make sure that, we're doing the right thing?
Just looking, full transparency about what we have today, so that it makes sense to you. We've had to support confirmation flow internally in HomePass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a manual step. It's not a automated, AI-driven magic potion bottle thing.
Yeah.
What it does is it allows an agent to capture leads and then basically action them accordingly to confirm them on a particular time, a date, and so on and so forth. Your experience sounds like it plugs into that. And that's not to say that we wanted to build all of that. Yeah. It's more, we couldn't solve a problem ubiquitously across both for sale and rent and the whole, you can think of it. So we've built if you think of it, a most universal, uniform way of dealing with people who are trying to request for an appointment.
Yeah.
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 So what we'd actually need to do is actually figure out, okay, we could probably support a mechanism that allows us to then offload that, delegate that authority to somebody else.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Right? And provide some neat integration touches.
Yep.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But probably most important is actually sending the information downstream so that the agent, when they run an inspection, can actually do it without having to duplicate information and then all that stuff.
Yeah, right? Correct.
And that we will provide the best experience moving forward.
Yeah.
So there's opportunity to integrate. There's without doubt there's some stuff here that makes sense. That's a product call as to what they feel is priority. Mm-hmm. That's the main thing. But in terms of opportunity, there is something there. It's just a question of, I guess, what we're working on and what's seen as urgent or not urgent.
Yeah. So would we be able to get I guess a test account so we can start doing some test scenarios and work out what a beta 1 might be? So, for example, a beta 1 in its most easy form would be you don't do anything, basically, and we see what we can do with what you've got. And if it answers a V1 for us, then all good, and there's no dev lift for you at all. Is that possible? So we can start having a bit of a play.
I think the problem you'll find is the opposite way around. We kind of need a customer and an experience that you're trying to target. Yeah. It's a question of what because there's without a doubt there's definitely things that we need to change straight off the bat.
Okay.
That's how I'm seeing the problem at the moment because it's the rental form and everything else is something that HomePass doesn't have any interest in playing in.
Yes, yeah.
But we do understand if there's a market-leading product, we want to support it. That's definitely not a if, buts, or maybes question. That's a definite yes.
Yeah.
But the problem I think we'll find is that it's actually, okay, we need to understand the 10 app flow, which you've articulated really well.
Yeah.
And then it's really about, okay, what's the opportunity to integrate? And then how do we actually get support around it to actually make it work?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think it's, Because if you integrated with what we have, it'll be super confusing. I guarantee you that right now. It'll be basically like you'd be sending stuff to us that the agent would confirm within HomePass that they would then have to reconfirm in 10-app. That's a terrible experience. Does it make sense? Like, who owns the booking relationship is the key.
Yeah.
Right? And from where I stand, and based on what you described, it's clear that 10-app wants to own the booking relationship.
The confirmation of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The appointment, the confirmation of it, the ability to set the time, availability, all that kind of stuff is something that you guys have built.
So just let me double check one thing. So listing A is in my desktop for an OFI tomorrow between 10 and 10:30. Is that OFI time already in HomePass?
If we have the listing, then the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Because the listing contains the OFI times in it.
And so if we were to serve up that OFI time and 10 people register to go to that OFI, and then we would basically pass those registrants to HomePass as confirmed, and then you would know then that anything that you're getting is only because it's been locked and loaded. And then wouldn't it mean that at that point all the agent would do, or the property manager, would do is confirm that in HomePass? In that example.
It's the way that we would do it is we need to support, because right now we're supporting right at the front of the stream, right top of the funnel. People are just inquiring and trying to get an appointment, right?
Yeah.
Your experience actually plugs that gap all the way down to it's confirmed.
Yeah.
What we need to do is support the same model. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
The same model, but to take it from the point where it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Right. And it's confirmed because we know, because there's an authority that said it's confirmed.
Yeah.
And you're passing, let's say, a URL to modify it, for instance, a website, somewhere, a link that allows a HomePass agent to go, hey, I want to change this. They'll tap a button, it'll go straight to 10-app.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of how I'm thinking it would work.
Yep.
And when you make a change, it will put the event back into HomePass, so we'd actually have updated information on our side.
Yeah.
That's how you do an integration properly, where we know the responsibility of what the apps are doing, and we've visioned for it accordingly.
Yeah.
So we don't double up on, we're doing this, because then what that does is it forces the user to then decide where is the source of truth.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Correct.
And to me, that's not impossible. It's a very doable thing.
Yeah.
It's just literally a question of opportunity, time, resourcing. It's all the usual, all the other things that have got nothing to do with tech whatsoever.
Yeah. Let me ask you another question. So there's an old custom script, and I remember this from the old My Desktop days, that HomePass had done, which may not exist anymore. But when someone was pre-registered to an open home in My Desktop, that used to sync or get picked up into HomePass. Do you know if that script exists anymore? This was a long time ago.
This does not even ring a bell.
Okay. So basically, pre-registered attendees that are in My Desktop don't get reflected in any automated way in HomePass, do they, against the listing?
No, I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I would be mad, happy to actually have the information coming through that has, hey, the person's confirmed, and by the way, these are all the applicant's details. The rental form there. Like, it makes so much sense. I'm with the customer, by the way. So it's like, we do the right thing by the customer, everyone wins.
Yeah.
That's what we should be thinking anyway.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'm 100% on board about that as an experience. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm just explaining to you, from a full transparency point of view, we've got to support a wide range of the market.
Yeah.
It's got overlap. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to compete head to head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we were to build an integration into 10-app, the way I think about it is, we would need to actually think of a combined use case that makes sense.
Yeah.
To think about the opportunity that makes sense for both businesses.
Yeah.
And then there needs to be, an understanding of the customer to actually go execute this against.
Yeah.
Right. Because those three things need to align for it to actually be a really amazing, powerful opportunity that, we can all get behind. I can actually we can put it up to stakeholders and say, hey guys, we're stupid not to do this. Let's do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay.
But from my perspective, tech-wise, 100% doable.
Yeah. Sorry, Jane.
I think we need to. I was going to say two things actually. The other thing is from the user point of view, they may also have bookings coming in like other ways too. You know, like from domain, for example, potentially, which would they were kind of handling two different flows.
Yeah.
Which there's just probably some stuff that we need to map out and think about.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just like Jason said, it's not exactly the way that we've built this so far. I think we have a lot on at the moment. We're like in the midst of planning. We're trying to work out exactly what we're doing next quarter, and we have a few things on the burner that we need to keep on pushing through.
Yeah.
So I think we probably need to go away and sort of maybe have a bit of a think about how this all fits in and the work that we would need to do to facilitate it.
Yeah.
And how that might fit into planning, because I think, like Jason says, there's definitely I think to try and kind of work it into the way that we built it just now would just be a bad experience for the user and confusing.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work. So we don't, definitely this integration, I think it makes sense, but we just need to do it in the right way.
Yeah, yeah. And does HomePass on domain at the moment, HomePass doesn't have a booking check-in thing for rentals at the moment on HomePass, on domain direct, does it?
They can.
Supports bookings on domain.
So, and where does it read those open home times from?
It reads it from the listing, and we have the ability to confirm date and times outside of the listing.
And that would and then downstream that's coming from my desktop into domain via the API.
Because we have to support. Don't forget, we have to support every other CRM on planet Earth.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm circling my desktop in this instance.
Yeah. The answer is yes. Eventually, if there is a public OFI that's actually advertised, it'll come through to us as well.
And that check-in widget that that booking widget that you've currently got, can that be somehow exposed on a website outside of domain?
Yes.
It can be.
Yeah, our API is designed to support anyone.
So does that mean that we could install the HomePass bookings widget on a website itself?
We provide an API because this is the other thing we've learned. Some companies want to do it themselves, so they'll the actual web componentry themselves. We provide a seamless API that allows them to forward the information into HomePass.
And we have control over the HTML, I guess, at the end of the day, and we're punching out. Okay, all right. So,
and that is a fundamental problem because you will find different companies that have different web technologies they're running with.
Yeah.
And therefore, the complexity about how you actually deal with it is going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
So we've created a very simple API that allows them to basically forward the information through to HomePass to make it easier.
Yeah.
And it would be the same API we would probably expose to you guys to say, hey, you can do this, but you need to add these additional fields to make it work.
I'm just wondering if that potentially, and I have to talk to Lyndon, obviously, but so the timelines that we have, just to be transparent with Ray White, is very short. So as you know, there is a lot of political things happening within domain with Ray White. Then with the sale of my desktop, there's a lot of stuff to do with that as well with Ray White. Mm-hmm. So we're, I guess we're all kind of up against it. So I'm wondering if maybe, so I'll talk to Lyndon, but maybe can we get access to that API that we were just talking about to see whether that's something we can use as an interim measure where we basically are skinning it, etc., delivering that bookings experience basically by using your entire system in essence. And I'm not technical, so Lyndon can look more into it as an interim measure, because the feeling I get from you guys is we're probably a quarter or more away from doing anything here, but obviously we need to answer on the other side. So is that something that we can get access to look at?
Yeah. So just let me clarify this. So you're saying that Ravelight would like to put a booking experience on their website, and they've asked you guys to help out with that.
Yeah, and the main reason for that is that we obviously capture a ton of data already for them, and we're doing the domain integration with DRF. They're wanting more reporting as well around inspections and just things that they can't currently get out of IRE. They want IRE gone tomorrow, literally, or actually yesterday, for a number of reasons, politically, but financially, for an agency that pays $24,000 a year for a bookings app, is just ridiculous. Yeah, well, their pricing is skewed on listing volume, so bigger offices are paying tens of thousands of dollars a year.
So again, 2,400? Is that 2,400 or 24,000?
$24,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a Ray White office in Brisbane. So there is immense pressure to fix that. There is a glut coming to the property market in August, September with a massive amount of vacancies, and they really need the hole plugged very quickly. If we could maybe look at option one, a short interim option is what we just discussed, and then we can start working out a really great experience that we're wanting to do as well in conjunction with you guys as an option two as time goes. What do we think about that?
Yeah, I think let's start lining up the opportunity properly.
Yep.
Right. So, whilst you can hack around and do what you want to do with the API.
Yeah.
I'm a mad believer in planning.
Yeah.
Because it allows us to then make sure we don't misstep each other and we've got clear direction and goals.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're aligned in the same direction, right?
Yeah.
So Ravelight is a company that we've dealt with, and we've been, we've had a lot of support from them, but we've also been trying to do the very best we can to service them with the user base. So
absolutely.
If they've got a problem, we have a bookings API we're planning to push through. If there's something that we can do to assist in some way that allows everyone to win, I'm more than happy to
And I guess then if we were looking at, or Lyndon was looking at the API, obviously then he can kind of formulate a whole heap of questions and have a supplementary meeting with you guys and work out that mapping that we were just discussing. So if we could get access to that would be awesome.
Cool.
And your timelines, I guess next week maybe for another quick catch up, will probably just be with Lyndon. Are you guys pretty open next week?
Luke, are you able to send us at least a set of screens, screen flow around how that whole confirmation thing works on your side?
Yeah. Probably tomorrow. Is that okay?
Yeah. As well as a general, I guess, overview of what the app and what you guys are building as well.
Yep.
I think it'll be really useful. You've obviously doing something amazing. You already got metrics around you're saving 50 minutes per application. There's a lot of really wonderful things I can hear there, and anything that helps in that space, is definitely really cool.
Yeah, and I guess the vision, just so we have the what we call Bookings Lite is what we're calling this initial product, and that will be replacing a large proportion of. So the system already replaces a significant amount of IRE functionality, because IRE have bookings and app tracker, which app tracker, I don't know whether you know about that product, but it basically fixes all of the glitches and bugs within one form, and they pay for it. So they pay to fix a free product. It's kind of stupid, but we basically replace all of that already. We're looking to basically, in this Bookings Lite, to replace a large proportion of their bookings functionality, and then look at Bookings Plus, I guess, down the line, which is going to be delivering far more greater value, I guess, to a property manager than they're currently getting from IRE. There's so many more things that can be done for a applicant and a property manager during this inspection time to add value and to make the journey more enjoyable than is currently being done. So I guess that's our longer term, vision on where we're looking and where we're going. So, I won't bore you anymore with my soapboxing, but all right. Thanks very much for your time. I'll get that stuff sent through to you. Feel free to send me through anything in the meantime as well, and I'll reach out to Lyndon and get him to come back to you guys with a secondary meeting.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Good chat, Luke. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Good to meet.
Good to meet you as well. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Bye.